UX design is actually the funniest career I've ever tried to go into, because the name says design, but it's more than just designing. It's not just about design and get out. You do everything and design. You have to care about what your users feel. How is it usable? How do they think? You have to be there all through the usage. And after the app is even being deployed, maybe it's been deployed on mobile app stores, you still have to keep up with, okay, what are people saying about this product? So it doesn't end in designing on Figma. So what I have here is a simple example of what happens with a lot of UI designers. So UI is, I don't know if you've gone to a boutique before and you see a nice shirt, a nice trouser, a nice skirt, and it looked really nice on the mannequin, and you're like, this thing, I go like, I go rock them and all that. And sorry, permit me, I speak a lot of pidgin too. So you buy that dress.
It's fine.
And you buy that dress and you get home and you try it and it just looks horrible on you. It doesn't size you. It's just not comfortable as you thought it would be. So what happens there is UI is your first, you know, when you say love at first sight, when you see something and you're like, oh, this is beautiful. The interface is nice. Everything is just perfect. But when you start using it, the UX part is what really matters right now. So I tell people a lot that people that want to just focus on UI, I tell them you need to know UX too. Because what's the point of designing something that will be hard to use? So for example, UI, when it comes to ketchup bottles now, you see it's nice, it's beautiful, it's standing there. But if you need to use it, you will have to turn it upside down and hit it. I think they started making new containers, by the way, that makes it easy. You can just press. But UX is how are people finding the experience when they use your app, when they use your product. So that's where the UX designer comes in. And another thing I have here, another example I have here that I love to use is you can see these baby toys on this baby cot. From outside, it looks beautiful. You have an elephant, you have a pig, you have like a squirrel, you have a tiger. It's beautiful. But from under, the baby itself that is the main user, this is what the baby is seeing. So the UI looks good, but the UX is very bad. So that's the difference between UI and UX. So UI is what they do is they focus on interface. What does the graphic look like? What does the, are the colors beautiful? Are they amazing? But UX designer focuses on more than just that. You start with the research, you do your empathy, you define, you ideate, prototype, you test, you start all over again because it's iterative. It's not just a one-off thing. You do it and you move on. Please, I will need to be timed though, so that I don't do beyond my time. All right, so I would go straight to what we have for today. And sorry, I'm sharing the wrong slide, but then it has the same thing. So sorry. All right. Okay, so I'll start by saying always put users at the heart of your design as a UX designer. And I say this a lot. And I say it because it is not called PX. It is not personal experience. It's not called Femi's experience. It's users. Like there are people that will use what you're designing. So you need to put them at the heart. Whatever you're designing, your research, your testing, whatever you're doing, your colors, like you're doing an app for old people, you're doing a website for old people, you need to know that those are your audience, and you need to actually do everything you can to make sure that these people enjoy, they easily use it, it is usable to them, it is useful to them, and they're enjoying it. So UI UX strategies I was talking about today are the roadmap that you use to create great user experience. How do you create great user experience? The file I was sharing before has like 8 or 9 UX design processes. I don't know if I have time, I would share that with you. But there are like 8 processes. If you want to design a website, there are 8 different things you need to do as a UX designer. But because a lot of us are, let me not say a lot of us, a lot of people are not, you don't go through the right channel. Like they said, if you want to learn tech, it's not just something you learn overnight. They have programs that can help you. If you learn it the wrong way, you will think that UX design is just about designing and giving to developers. But the truth is, it's beyond that. It's beyond that. There's a lot of other things that you do, even before you get to start designing. There are lots of other processes. I would share that if I have the time. But then I'll be sharing strategies today. And I have the first strategy here, which is number 1, be user-centric. Be user-centric. I used to be a graphic designer before I went into UX design like 3 years ago. And for me, graphic design used to be about how beautiful it looks and how satisfied I am with it and my clients. And that's it. In fact, it's more of how beautiful it looks to me. But when I came into UX design, I realized that it is not about me right now. There are designs I've done that I thought were beautiful. I thought were just perfect, but the users are not having it. The users want a brighter color. The users want a smaller font. They want a bigger font. They want a larger button. So it's not about you. It's about it. That's why your name carries user in front of it. So you're a user designer. You're designing for user. You're a user experience designer. You're a user interface designer. So they're making it clear to you so that you don't forget when you're designing that you are designing for people. So it's important that you focus on understanding your users first. Understand what they want, understand them through research. We have surveys you can do online surveys. You can design with users in mind, and this will help you create what they really love. My team and I were working on a bus hailing app recently, and we're still working on it basically. And when it was time for questionnaire, we thought we knew everything we needed. But when we threw out the questionnaire to people to ask, what do you think about an app that will help you hail buses, like an Uber, but this time for buses? And people started bringing up ideas, suggestions, and we could tell that this is what people would, if we do an app that have these features, or that has these features, people will really buy it. People really buy the idea. People even pay to use those apps. So you need to know what your users want. That's the first stage in every design process. You need to really do your research. Find out what your users want. Find out who are your users. I designed a dating app for teenagers before, and I had to actually give a teenager to test it before I realized some things were too big for them. Some grammars were too advanced. Some processes were not needed. So you need to interact with your users. That's the important thing. And if you spend a lot of time in understanding your user, you will not spend a lot of time in designing the product you're working on. Let me say it again. If you spend a lot of time understanding your users, you won't waste time when you're designing a product because you would have understood who you're designing for and everything they did. So I have it here. When the project starts to when it is launched, all the processes you go through, these guys are always in the middle of it. You must not forget your user. You must not forget. At no point will you take, though there's a place for business growth. Business will tell you we have our plan, we want to make this money when you design this product, and want to do this, want to do this. But don't forget, now users will still use that product. So users are like king. You know how they say customer is king or client is king? Users are king when it comes to user experience design or user interface design. Let me move to the next one quickly. Next point I have here is set goals. And this has helped me a lot because it helps me keep tab with the progress I'm making, and it helps me know what to tell my clients. For example, as a freelancer, I have a sort of documentation I give my clients before I start their work. And this document contains objectives and goals of what we're about to do. I'll tell you that for the first week, I'll get your landing page and some screens done. Second week, I'll do this. Third week, I'll do this. Fourth week, we should be doing this. Fifth week, we should be rounding off. We should be handing over to the developers and all that. So you should have these things written down. You should have them tabled down so that when it's time, you know that you're making progress. I don't know if you've been in a place where you are working and working and you're feeling like, I'm not making progress. You can't really tell that you're making progress because you don't have it written down. You don't have it. You didn't set goals for yourself. It's just like you say today, okay, today I'll be productive, and you didn't really specify what you want to do. You wash your clothes, or you wash this, you would maybe wash your car, you would go out to see a friend, you call your parents. But at the end of the day, you will not feel like, what have I done today? You've actually done something, but because you didn't set the goal, you didn't really put it out there that this is the things I will do. You didn't even know you have actually made progress. So it's important that you set goals for yourself. You need to really set goals. What do you want to do with this app? Do you want people to engage with it? Do you want to increase the conversion rate for the client? Do you want to increase their return on investment? Do you want people to smile? So whatever your goal is, you need to set it. You need to really be sure at the beginning of the project. You need to be sure what you're doing before you start designing. I used to tell people that I talk to a lot that you don't just open Figma and start designing. You need to actually understand what you're about to achieve first. Recently, I was working on something and it had to do with a shopping app for pregnant women where you can shop for fashion wears. And that's because my wife was pregnant and was expecting a baby, and she was going online to check for clothes, and it was hard. It was hard to get clothes. I was like, how about we have a platform where you can have clothes or a shopping, an e-shop, an e-commerce shop where you have clothes just for pregnant women. And trust me, when I did it, I had lots of people coming to me to ask, okay, how do we market this? Do you have plans for this? Sometimes I just do those things and put them online, and people come into my DM to ask, okay, let's make this go live. And who do we partner with? Which shopping brand do you think we can work with? Which dress or fashion brand, do you think we can work with to make this come to life? So set your goals. Make sure you have whatever you want to do. So by the time people were coming to me, I had the goals in mind. I had what I want to do with it in mind. And I told them, this is what I want to do, and this is what I think we should do. So it's easy to relate. Next one is try to analyze your market and competitors. Yes, do a feasibility study. This is very important. It's also in the UX design processes. You need to look at what your competitors are doing. Know the trends. Know the trends. So for example, I did something recently as well on loan apps, and I realized some of these loan apps, they just have name, but people are not rating them well. They just somehow they have so many downloads, but people are not happy with them. And I went to look at why, because I'm about to design a loan app. I need to know why people are not feeling these guys. So I did a research, and I was able to find out how we can stand out, how this particular design can stand out from other design. So you cannot be a UX designer or a product designer and not do all of these things. Except you want to do UI design, which is very fine. I know a lot of people that will tell you, I don't want to do research, nothing concerns me with research, nothing concerns me with user testing, nothing concerns me with doing surveys, nothing concerns me with all of those things. I just want to design. It is fine. There are people like that. But the truth is, your design cannot be, it can't stand near a design that is designed by a UX designer, because UX designer actually we consider a lot of things before we start designing. So what I have here is look at what your competitors are doing and identify the trends. Find unique ways to stand out and make your design shine, make it better. Make it better. So I used to tell people that whatever you're doing, a lot of people have actually done it before. There's no idea you have in your mind that somebody has not designed before. I challenge you, go and check. If you have any fresh idea in your mind, somebody has done it. I was talking to somebody recently, and the person was saying, I want to design an app that people can use to reach out to artisans. If you need a carpenter for your shop, if you need this, I want to be the first to do. I say, Baba, you're not the first. Plenty of people don't do them. There's one online that is currently being marketed well, Yodalo or so, not marketing for them, but they did a great job. I think Gigi also has something like that, where if you need a carpenter, you need this, go there, you will see them, you see their prices, you can even chat them up, you can call them. So always analyze the market before you start. So for instance, if you're doing something like that app now, for example, if you go online, you see that this is how people are doing it. Ask yourself, what can I do that will make it better? Because I don't want to be like every other app. To be honest with you, I'm not feeling this thread app a lot, these new threads that we have. And why is that? I feel it's a replica of Twitter, and we all know that. But I was hoping they would do something different, though I've not really explored it a lot. I was hoping they would do something different. You open it, you meet something different, you meet something outstanding, something unique. Somebody put out a survey recently and was asking how many people really enjoyed using threads. And about 60% said they are not feeling it. Because yes, it's a replica. Somebody don't design this thing before. So why am I trying to copy them? Why am I not being better than them? So when you do proper research, you will find out what are people complaining about Twitter. Then you adjust it on your own. That's the mistake they made. For example, on Twitter, I think you need to be verified also to be able to edit your tweet. I think so. And threads make the same mistake. If I was Mark Zuckerberg, I would do an app that will make people, you can edit your thread. You can edit it. You don't need to delete it if you make mistake. So I think there are lots of things they copied from Twitter because they didn't do proper research. I feel like they rushed it. In fact, somebody did a proper video, like a 30-minute video on the mistakes they made on that Threads app. I don't know, maybe they were rushing to release it or something, but they didn't do proper. If they had done proper research, they will come out with an app that will not just be downloaded, but will be enjoyed. It's not just about how many downloads you have per day. Are people using it? Are people enjoying it? Because that's what UX is all about. People must enjoy your product. It's not just about, the app is fine. 50,000 people downloaded it on the first day. Are they enjoying it? Now, GTB yesterday updated their app. And for those of us that use GTB, we have been very sad since yesterday. Yes, the design is fine, but I've not been able to enjoy it. I've not been able to log in since yesterday. Though that's part of the developer, not really UX, but then it's part of it. So it's not just about how many people downloaded it. It's are they enjoying it after downloading it? So do your market survey well. Do your competitor analysis well. Find out what your competitors are doing, what they're not doing well. There's something called SWOT analysis: strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats. Find out their strength, find out their weaknesses, find out opportunities you can get out from all of these things, and find out what is the threat so that you can know how to adjust your own app. So let me quickly move to the next one. Next one is make sure your brand is aligned, like there's proper alignment. Ensure that your design reflects your brand style and personality. So for example, when I'm working with the clients, I always ask them if they have a brand guide. It's very important. It's very, very, very important. Don't take up any job without asking for brand guide. In fact, let me tell you one secret. Asking for brand guide helps me get the gig to design their logo sometimes, or design the brand guide for them. So some brands will tell you, yeah, we have a logo, we don't get waiting people. What's brand guide? And I tell them, okay, brand guide will break this whole thing down. It will tell you the kind of fonts that fit your brand, breaks the color down, tell you how to use this, tell you how not to use it, and explains the colors, explains everything. So I show them, it's like a 17-page, my brand guide is usually like a 17-page document that shows you everything about the brand, everything about the brand. So when you tell the clients, do you have brand guide? And they're like, we don't even know what that is. You can tell them, I'll do it for you. And that will be an extra $400, what I'm charging you. That'll be an extra $400. So usually doing logo is different from doing logo and brand guide for me. So when I'm doing just your logo, say for example, I'll charge you $100. But if you want a brand style guide, like you want a style guide and sorry, not style guide, brand guide now, you need to add an extra $300 because that's a lot of work. And in the next 10 years, you can still be using your brand guide, whether you're doing print or digital, whatever you're doing, you can still use your brand guide so that there's uniformity. So as a UX designer, always make sure that your design reflects the brand style and personality. Always ask for their colors, ask for their fonts and everything so that you can create a cohesive experience. For example, if you're working with MTN now, you can't just go and pick any yellow and just use. You need to make sure that there's consistency. People look at their website, they see the same thing. People look at their shirts, people look at their billboards. The colors are consistent and there's unison in the colors you're using. So always ask for brand style guides. That one would really help you. And it will help you earn extra money. Like I told you, you earn extra money from asking somebody. If they don't have it, help them come up with it if you're good at design, and you make more money from it. So next one is usability and accessibility. We call it A11Y, accessibility. The 11 there is the number of letters in between A and Y. And this is very important. Very, 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 very important. In fact, this was supposed to be part of the first things I would put on the points. If you're listing order of priorities for these things, usability and accessibility is very important. And I'll tell you why. Now, if you're designing a product, you need to make sure that you carry everybody along. Everybody along. I've met with people that have color blindness issues. I've met people that have hearing problems. I've met people that cannot type properly. They just want to speak. And why I like Apple products so well is because they consider all these things. You can just call Siri, open my gallery. If you cannot type, maybe you have issues with your thumb, with your finger, you can just, without touching your phone. That's accessibility. Accessibility is like you're making the product accessible. You're making it available for everybody. Whether you are blind or you don't need to see your screen, there's a text reader. You can read what is on the screen for you. So you need to carry every single person along. That's why you need to understand your users. Are my users going to be the general public, or we're looking at people with disabilities as well? You need to know who you're designing for, so that your product will be easy to use. It will be easy to navigate to your users. So I said something, I said guide users smoothly through their journey for a seamless experience. So that's the most important thing. People need to be, they need to enjoy the experience. They need to enjoy the entire journey, the entire UX journey as they're going through. Next one quickly is iterative design process. Now, usually we used to think that when I first came on board on UX design, I used to think UX design is, okay, collect the job, collect the money, do the job, submit the job, go chop your money. I used to think that was how easy it was. I used to think it was just a straightforward process. But until I realized that it's actually an iterative design process. And that is why I don't really charge so much, but I charge well, because I know that this back and forth in UX design is very much. And I'll tell you how. I'll explain to you. So let me read what I have here first. I said, test your design, gather feedback, and make iterative improvements. Keep refining until you have a design that works perfectly for your users. Keep refining. So your first design is not usually the final design. Trust me. Your first design is not usually the final design. I work with the creative agency, and as at this morning, my boss still told me, Alpha, Femi, still check this website and tell us what we need to improve on. I will still go through and check the fonts, check the buttons, check, okay, is this aligned? Is this not aligned? Why is there shadow behind this one? Is this color? Is it color friendly? Will people really click on this when they see it? Will people know that there's a button here? So you check and you go back and adjust the design. And it's a move forward, move back, move forward, move back process. That's how I describe UX design. It's not just one straight thing. You have to keep reiterating, like you have to keep doing it. You have to keep adjusting, keep making it better. For those of us that joined Facebook or Instagram many years ago when we first had access to them, you tell me that today, what we have today is not what we had those years. There's a time when you can't even upload story. There's nothing called story. Let's use WhatsApp, for example. WhatsApp is updating every day. Now, I don't know if you know, but you can now edit your WhatsApp message. If you send a message and you make mistake, you can edit it. They are updating things every day. There was a time when on WhatsApp, I don't think there was story. There was a time when it's not like there was no video call. There was a time when you couldn't do group call on WhatsApp. They are improving. So they go on Play Store, they read about what people are saying, and they go back and adjust it and push it out to the public and see what people are saying again. They go back again, adjust it. It's continuous. It is continuous. It's not just a one-off thing. So it's very important you put it in your mind when you're working as a UX designer that this is part of your job. You're going to be doing a lot of iterative things. You're going to be going back and forth until your product is perfect. And the truth is, it is never perfect too. Honestly, tell me any app you love, and I will tell you to go and check Play Store for errors people are talking about. People are always complaining about things. There's one or two things that are not going well with each app that you know. So get ready to keep refining until you have a design that is perfect for users. Next is actually data. I love this part as well. The data is actually supposed to guide your decision-making process as a UX designer. You need to work with data a lot. Now, the boss hailing app I told you we're working on with my team, we're using data to actually know what is important and what is not important. Because when you're dropping the first version of the app, there are a lot of things you need to put in place. Like let me use this one for example Now, Instagram dropped Threads, and I'm sure they are looking out for reviews. They intentionally dropped it the way it is. They know it's not perfect yet, but they want to see, okay, what are people saying? How many people said we need to improve this? How many people are complaining that hashtags are not working yet? How many people are complaining that our logo looks like this? How many people are complaining that, okay, we should work on the buttons, on the reaction buttons and all that? So you need to work on data. Like data would help you know percentage of people that have issues with what you're doing. It will help you analyze the behavior. It will help you know the insights and all of that, so that you can make proper design choice. I want to quickly move to the next one. So collaboration is the next thing. There's this saying that you're not an island. You need to collaborate. And sorry to say, I have an issue with full stack people. If you're a full stack person, I'm very sorry, so sorry. But the ones I know, they rarely collaborate. They don't want to. Full stack people are those that they do design, they do front end. In fact, some of them do back end, they do iOS, they do everything. They're not working with anybody. They're not rubbing mind with anybody. In fact, I've met a full stack person that said he also is a product manager. So he doesn't need a product manager when he's working. He knows everything and anything. The truth is, it's important you know that as a UX designer, you can't know it all and you can't do it all. No matter how good you are, people would give you reviews that would make you feel like, I need to improve sometimes. So you need to work with developers as a UX designer. You cannot do it on your own. Like when I was a graphic designer, it was a one-man job. I do my job and I send it to my clients and that's it. But I realized that in this UX design field, you're not on your own. You need to work with it. In fact, you have to be friends with your developer because it gets some kind of animation where you go put for your design. Developer go vex for you. So you need to be friends. Talk about the animation. Talk about, okay, this button that is here, if we take it out, where should we put it? I think we should add it here. This animation that you put is too much. It's making the page lag. Can we change it? You guys you rub mind about things. So developers, you work with marketers, you work with stakeholders. Like only my company, I work with the marketer as well. The guy tells me, okay, Femi, this button here, I think the people are not seeing it on time. So let's put it at the top of the page. Since we want people to click on it, let's put it at the top of the page. So you work with all these people, you work with stakeholders, people that are important in the project and all that. In fact, you work with product managers, you work with everybody. So as a UX designer, it is not a one-man job. Trust me. This project I'm about to, there's a project I just had I had an interview with before this meeting. I am planning to call somebody that will help with the development and everything. So it's not a one-man job. I wanted to learn development, like front-end development, but I realized that even at that, I still need the expertise of people that are specialized there. people that are specially you, because at some point you will get confused. I've seen full stack people that need help with some things. Either their design is not good enough because they are perfect in front end or back end, or they have very good knowledge of design, but they have issues with front end. So you can't know it all. You need to be ready to collaborate. So collaborate across teams leads to better design and successful outcomes. Sometimes when I do designs, I don't know that I make error until I share them out to people to view. So when I put out designs on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and I get reviews, I don't even notice some of these things sometimes. I don't notice it. There's a time I did a banking app and I did a dark theme. I did it dark, and somebody told me that, for banking apps, so this is not, I had the light theme, but then I shared the dark one, and people were like, no, this doesn't work for a fintech app. It doesn't work for a fintech app. You keep it simple, it's finance. So if I go see my 5, they look like saying a 2 because of gradients. I go vex. So it's good to keep it simple, keep it easy to see, easy to read and everything. So work closely with people so that you can rub minds and get better design at the end of the day. Next thing is learning journey. This one is very, very important. Very important. As a UX person, if you want to be successful in the field, you don't stop learning. Now, if I check some of us, if you check some, you judge yourself, go to your LinkedIn and check how many certificates have you had. Those of us are still learning. How many certificates have you had since you started learning? You need to ask yourself. So going to a boot camp or using Google UX certificate course or all those things, it doesn't really, doing one course doesn't really, it doesn't solve it all. It doesn't make you perfect yet. Now, I've been going through a lot of trainings lately, and I got certificates for them, actually. I have design for Web3 certificate. I have gamification in design. I have mobile UX design certificate. I have psychology in design. Psychology in design. There are some boot camps that they will not teach you all of these things. In fact, I've gone to like 2 boot camps. Nobody taught me psychology in design. So you need to understand your users. You don't just, aside design, you need to understand how they think. You need to understand, okay, so if I put this button here, how will my user think when they see it? Will they be prompted to click it and all that? I have certificate in UX writing. I learned a little bit of UX writing. I have certificate in UX research. Now, all this is not because I want to be a UX researcher. I want to be looking for a job. It's so that I can do my job well as a UX designer. Now, a UI designer will not worry about all these things because, of course, what I'm doing is I'm just designing and sending to the client and sending to the developer. But as a UX designer, I've learned that you need to grow. Stay updated with UX trends. Stay updated with trends. Now, there was Config recently, Figma conference, and they introduced a lot of new things that will be happening. I know, please, if you have not watched it, go and watch it. I think it's like an hour, though there are some other videos. What are the new updates on Figma? You can now go to dev mode. Let me show you an example. This right here is dev mode. You can switch to dev mode if you're done and get it ready for the developer. So there are lots of interesting things. In fact, AI is now in Figma. You can now just put a prompt. Now, if you want to design a dark theme of your design, like maybe you did a white, let me say, for example, let me use this map, for example. Maybe this map, for example, see coming up. So, for example, you design a mobile app with a white background or so, and you want to change it to black. Now, there's an update that lets you just go and you just select dark theme. You don't need to start changing all these colors manually or one by one. There are updates that you need to follow. So if you don't follow updates, you won't know what's up, honestly. So you need to stay updated with trends, know what is happening, know what to, like when I started UX design, I started with Adobe XD. My first mobile app design, I did it on XD. And over time, I realized that XD is not even trending. It's Figma that people are really using. It's Figma. So I moved to Figma, started watching videos on Figma, started doing crash courses on Figma, started watching crash courses, on Figma, started downloading materials on Figma. I was first self-taught before I started getting certificates, by the way. So in case you are still new in the field, you can continue what you're doing, continue learning on YouTube. There are lots of content. I also drop content sometimes that would help people grow. But you can't just stop there. You need to actually go to bootcamps and all that to learn more, to get better. So learning journey is very important. So keep learning and applying new knowledge to enhance your design skills. Now, if you don't know what's happening, you'll just be designing on Figma. You know that there are other plans. There's Whimsical, there's Miro, there's a lot of platforms. There's Miller Notes. There are lots of platforms we use as UX designers. But some of us are just, some people people are just used to just Figma. And Figma has plugins, yes, it's good. But then there are lots of other platforms that make your work easier. Now, somebody said something, I think it was Joy, or somebody talked about how AI and all that. I would like to say something very shortly about that. If you're not very knowledgeable about AI, honestly speaking, you'll be scared that it's taking over our job. But as a UX designer, I've actually found out that AI will make my work easier. It won't take my job. It can never take our job. AI cannot do empathy now. AI cannot empathize. Let me show you an example. So for example, I have, let me see. Okay. So I have a question and I want to do an app, a dating app, and I want to come up with a questionnaire. Now, before AI came, what we usually do is we'll go out to just do our research, start writing a question one. What are the important questions we'll need to ask people for a dating app and all that? I want to do a questionnaire. But right now, you can do ChatGPT and ChatGPT come up with questions for a dating app UX project. Or let me put survey. All right, so as you can see, in less than how many seconds, AI has generated questions that I need for my questionnaire as a UX designer. I don't need to start brainstorming. I don't need to start scratching my head. What question should I ask? Is this question important? Is it not important? So I have these questions here. Ask AI again. Come up with a user persona for my project. Can you see this? So before now, we used to scratch our brains, scratch our heads, scratch our skull to get some of these things. Because the truth is, not all of us really enjoy English. Personally, I don't really like writing like that. So if you ask me to write things like this, I will need to go through a lot of checking and checking before I submit it. But right now, I have something like this. I can look through this and edit it. They're giving me an example of, okay, Sarah Thompson, she's 28, she's marketing executive, she's single, she's heterosexual. Okay, no, that's not important for me. The goals and motives, challenges and frustrations, needs and expectations. The quotes, down to the quotes, AI will give it to you. So if I didn't put this prompt, AI doesn't know to come up with these things by itself. I'm sorry, I'm diving into that topic. It's supposed to be a topic for an event, so I would leave this topic very soon. But then I'm telling you how, if you read more on, if you develop yourself as a designer, you would discover that there are tools to make your work easier for you. There are tools. You want to give your client an invoice as a UX designer, you can use ChatGPT. Come up with an invoice for my client. I want to design this. This is the budget. This is how long I want to do the project. Come up with an invoice. So you need to actually learn these things. If I know some of us, if I didn't share this, some of us didn't know we could do things like that. We are still doing the old way of maybe coming up with content, coming up with case study content and all that. Yeah, it's good. But the truth is AI is making the work easier, though you need to actually edit what it gives you sometimes. It doesn't give you accurate information, but then it just makes it easier for you. So stay updated with your UX trends and best practices. Keep learning and applying new knowledge to enhance your design. See, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Keep learning. Keep learning. Any small opportunity you get, try to learn. Try to learn. And let me move quickly. Next one is your user feedback. Feedback is very important. Very, very important. And I tell my clients most of the time that expect me to be coming back to you every time for feedback. Though most times some users will tell you we don't want to interview people for a project. It's a project where it's an NDA. Like it will make you sign an NDA, non-disclosure agreement, that you won't tell people about their project, you won't share it with anybody. But then you need to get feedback. As you're doing the work, you need to get feedback. So because you can't just design and assume that it is fine. People need to tell you, okay, please, Oga, this button, this cancel button is close to delete. This save button and delete button are close. I wanted to press save, I mistakenly pressed delete. You need to hear people's feedback about your app. You need to hear people's feedback. Like I told you, the dating app I did for teenagers, I thought it was good. I thought it was perfect. But when I gave it to a real teenager, a real life teenager to go through it, I realized that there were a lot of things that teenagers will not understand in a dating app. So I made it a little bit friendly and fun for them. So for me, I thought it was about the color. Just put color, we go attract teenagers and all that and move on. But then it was more than just the colors. You need to hear from a real teenager. How is this app usage to you? I expected GTB after designing the app. I don't know if they did it. Go out, like even if it's within the office, let people go through this app, tell you what they think. Give you their feedback. It's very important. It is very, very important. Now, I said something here. I said their input, will help you create designs that meet their needs effectively. I've been in a situation whereby I did a design and I had to start all over again because there was no feedback in the middle of the project. I thought I was doing, this color is now, they go like this blue, this font is this is this, let me add this here, when I gave it to the client told me, Femi, I wanted something very simple, a plain colored design, like black and white is what I wanted for this design. So if I carry the client all through the process, maybe all through the project and all that, maybe in the middle, give him this, let him give me feedback, I wouldn't have done the entire design. I would have done maybe the first screen and get a feedback before moving to the next screen, get a feedback. As I said, the design process from the first stage to the next stage, carry them along. You need the feedback. You need the feedback. All right. So finally, this is how the flow for UX design processes are, sorry. I wish I could explain it, but then I don't know if I have that time. But this is how it is. You move from research to wireframing to mock-up to prototype to development to test and you have feedback. Did you notice that it's not just a straight line? It is moving like this and you can come back at any point. As you're moving forward, you can come back. At this stage now, a client can tell you that, oh, boy, this wireframe you did is not good enough, or this mock-up you did is not good enough. You have to go back to your wireframe to adjust it. They tell you, the developer will tell you, oh boy, this animation we put for here too much, this button we put for here, people are not really enjoying and all that. You have to go back to your prototyping again. You have to go back to the stage before or the process before. So it's not just a one-off, a one stage. So you notice that at the end of the whole thing, you still come back to the beginning. There were some guys I worked with, they're working on a logistic app. The app was launched and honestly speaking, you would think that's the end of the project. But they still go back every week to get reviews. Like I told you, Play Store, go back, get review. Once you get your review, go back, do your research, do your whatever, find out if it's okay or if it's not good, then adjust it again. Then we go back again. We start again. So it's not a one-off, let's move on kind of thing. It's not a, okay, I'm doing the design. By the time I'm done, I'll go flex my money. No. UX design, you have to do all of these things and you have to go back sometimes, 2 steps back or 1 step backward sometimes. Sometimes the developer will take you back to this stage, will take you back to your wireframe. It won't tell you go back to the project. It will tell you go back to your wireframe. That thing, adjust it, that hi-fi, then make it into a mock-up, and I want to see what it looks like. If you work with companies that are not just small, honestly speaking, you will go through all of these things without skipping a step. All of this stage, they want you to start with research first. Then you can actually start ideating, drop your wireframes, then move to mock-up and all that. So this is a summary of everything. I have it detailed here. In case I can't speak about it, it's on my YouTube channel as well. So you go through all of these processes in big companies. They don't want to skip any process. If you make a mistake in one step, you go back to the step before. It's like you're repeating class. That's why you need feedback on every stage. You can't just start and end and say, I don't finish the project. Who did you interview? Nobody. You must talk to your users in between, your stakeholders. They must be involved in the entire process so that you don't have to scrap everything and start all over again. Then finally, I have a small illustration here. So usually we think, for those of us that are just coming into UX, you will think this is what UX is all about. You plan, you execute, and you succeed. You see how simple it looks? But the truth is, this is what it is. It is what it is. There are times that I forgot to put that. They will even owe you money. Your clients will pay you the first half and will take the design and will not give you review or feedback, and you'll be needing money and they will not get back to you. So it's not as easy as this first expectation. It is like this: you plan. Execution sometimes itself will be broken, like it will not even happen as you're thinking. I've met with developers that I designed something and the developer designed something differently. Like he couldn't achieve some of the designs I did. So what he did, he just did something he knows how to do. So even the execution might sometimes now come out. Sometimes you will fail. It is okay. Sometimes you will cry. Sometimes you will cry. Sometimes network will fall your hands. You are in a meeting with the client trying to explain something. If you're the client I know in Nigeria, if they're in Nigeria, you can tell them, oh boy, say network, MTN network this morning get problem and all that. But you can't tell that to a UK client. I don't pay you, Oga. I've paid you for this job. So why is your network glitchy? So sometimes you'll cry. Sometimes you'll be burnt out. You'll be tired. Now, before now, I used to think UX design is just come up with a design in your head. Because as a graphic designer, I did that a lot. I didn't even know there were platforms you can go for inspiration. So what I do, I just maybe get a piece of paper, drop my mock-up and start trying to design. And it is stressful. It's very stressful. Sometimes it takes me 2 days. Back then, it took me 2 days to actually come up with one design. But I realized that you can actually go online, search for inspiration. There's Award, there's Dribble, there's Pinterest, there's 99 Designs, there's Behance. There's a lot of places where you can get inspiration from. Just make sure you're not copying somebody's design, but just get inspiration. You want to design a fintech app, go online, check fintech app. How do they design these things? You want to design an NFT mobile app, go and check online. What fonts will make sense for a mobile app? Someone designed a banking app recently, and the person was using a calligraphy sort of font, like you know what calligraphy is, all those script fonts. I was like, this is not a wedding invitation, Oga. It's a banking app. There's some fonts that you don't use, no matter how beautiful they look. You don't use them. So sometimes you get tired, you get burnt out because you're stressed out. Sometimes you need to try again. I see this as iterative, like the process where you go back again and start all over again. No matter how good you are, people will turn down your design sometimes. And sometimes it's imposter syndrome. You'll be tired, you'll be discouraged, but try again. Keep trying. Like I said here, you will fail here, you will fail again. I know they swear for people, but just know, get ready for it. There are times people you have done the best design that anybody will see, but your client will see it and they will hiss. I tell you to start again. Even the success is broken here. So the success says sometimes they don't go pay you balance. So they will tell you because of you wasted. I have a friend that said because of the time it took to get the job done, the client took out $100 from the entire money they were trying to pay him. They didn't pay him the full money. They didn't pay him the full money. I know this kind of thing. We as freelancers, most of the times, before they pay you, don't they calculate how you go spend the money. Oh, but when the client pays me $600 or $700, I'll go shut down Chicken Republic. I'll buy chicken, one bucket of chicken. When I do that, I'll go and change my phone, iPhone 13, iPhone 14. You don't calculate how you go use the money, only for you to realize that the client is not planning to pay you the full money. Then finally, you will have to continue. You don't give up. So one thing I realized in UX design is you can't be looking back. And I'll share this, is not part of this, what I put here, but then always put out your jobs out there. Make noise. I used to tell people, make noise. When I say make noise, I'm not saying noise is noise. Like post everything. Sometimes we always wait for the perfect design. I want to post this design. I'm still working on my portfolio. By the time I'm done, they go take LinkedIn, they go collect. They don't collect, because there are people actually putting out their jobs. They're constantly putting out things. So it's even interesting you put out even your worst jobs, because you're showing people your growth. You're showing people your journey. You are growing. And there's somebody we started this whole journey together, and I'm so happy because she is making money from Upwork. Me, I'm not an Upwork or Fiverr person. I get my jobs from Twitter, from LinkedIn. People reach out to me in my DM and they tell me, we want to work with you, want to design this website. These are our budgets. But she's making crazy money. Like for the past 3 months or 2 months, she has made about $600, $700. And she's a student, still in the university. So imagine a student, you're making $700. In Naira, you know that's good money for a student to be making. Before I joined the UX, I used to think, Yahoo boys, you know how we used to think everybody that has fine car, that has this, the Yahoo boy. Honestly speaking, it was the same way. I used to think that. When I started, I realized that there is money, especially when you know what you're doing it well. There's money. Follow trends. Now, Web3 is the future. In fact, it's not the future, it's here. Are you learning about Web3? Do you even know what Web3 is? Some of us are still stick to, okay, Web2. I'm still learning how to design Facebook. Yeah, it's good. But then there's something called Web3, and that is the future. That's where we are going to. That's where this whole thing is going to. There was time I took like 2 weeks. I took time off social media to go and learn Web3, like read about Web3, watch videos about Web3. What is this Web3 everybody's talking about? How can I get involved? So ask yourself, how am I need to develop. So post your work, which is very important, like I said, get reviews, get feedback, and try to make friends as well. Like try to connect with people, connect with the right people, because it has helped me too. I've gotten lots of jobs from people that recommended me to other people. Somebody will tell me, I got your number from this person. I don't even know the person. But try to just make friends with people. Right now, I have a job and I need a developer. I have people I've made friends with that I will reach out to. On their own, they will make cool cash. They didn't put out, I'm looking for a job, but because I know someone who needs a developer after I'm done with the design, I will reach out to them. Post your work and be consistent, please. Be consistent. Don't just post today and oh boy, now when I get time and all that. Like this is if you take this serious, I want you to stop seeing it as a hobby or as a, if UX design see your hobby for now, then you don't know what you have. You don't know what you have. The best of people that are making money on Upwork and Fiverr don't even have the best of designs. Go and check. Some people have made $10,000 since they started using Upwork. Some people have made $400,000 since they started using Upwork and Fiverr. Check their designs. They are not as good as your own. But they are posting. That's the difference. They post their work. They are proud of their work. They are ready to take feedback. They're ready to take criticism. Honestly, you should be ready for all these things, like all of these things. Be ready for them. Actually, whether during your process of becoming a designer, freelance designer, your growth, your project, get ready for all of these things. It's not going to be sweet. It's not going to be smooth, but trust me, it will be worthwhile. Like you would enjoy the process. You won't regret it. Thank you very much. That is where
please don't forget to like, don't forget to share this to someone else who you think will need it, and don't forget to subscribe so that when I drop new videos, new updates, you get to see it. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye.